This is MC Tone coming from the 757 spin number the truth. Back to you with another video. And you know what it is. It's the NFL team breakdown, 32 team breakdown. And we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna start with the letter C. Come back with the letter C, with the Cincinnati Bengals, And I just want to start with this. When I think of a dysfunctional organization in NFL, I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals. They had years when they made the actual playoffs and won their division. When I think of dysfunctional organizations, I think of the Cleveland Browns and I think of the Detroit Lions as dysfunctional, and even sometimes the Chicago Bears, man. But I don't think the Bengals are a dysfunctional organization. Do we forget that Andy Dalton took them to the playoffs? How about Carson Palmer? Even though Marvin Lewis and them didn't win a playoff game, they were still a relevant football team. So the media tried to portray, oh, Joe Burrow shouldn't just take on the Cincinnati Bengals and he should force their hand. I would thought that was foolish. They're not a dysfunctional organization. They drafted good. They definitely had to make the right pieces. Are they cheap at times? And that's what made Carson Palmer mad sometimes. They were kind of a mom and pop shop organization. Yeah, I can understand that, but dysfunctional, no, they're not a dysfunctional organization at all. But I'm gonna just start off with this: the Cincinnati Bengals. They're coached by year 2 of Zach Taylor, who was formerly the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams a couple years ago. He definitely took over that organization. They went 2-14, which was terrible. Finished last in the division. That football team was terrible, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They struggled. I think all across the board. The quarterback position to me was it was clearly say that Andy Dalton situation, it was time to move on from him. Even though I thought he had he had solid years in Cincinnati. I don't think he was terrible, but I think the relationship ran its course, and I think they was trying to just separate, and it was time to move on from that situation. But I do love the moves that they done. Let's start with Joe Burrow, if I pronounced that right, man, or Borox. I like that when he did that for LSU, man. I think the kid. I think honestly, Joe Burrow is special to me. What he did in LSU that year was that was one of the best college quarterback performances I've ever seen in my life. Let me tell you this, man. He was throwing to some studs with Justin Jefferson, and Ja'Marr Chase, who to me was going to be a monster in this league. But his touch, I thought was the most impressive thing. But his ball placement, the way he placed the ball, and there were times where he had to throw people open. He threw guys open, so let's not pretend he just had the talent. He threw guys open and had the ball in the correct pocket, outside pocket, and he made it easier for those wide receivers, man. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that. I think he's gonna have a good rookie year. Now he's gonna play in a tough position. I don't expect them to honestly, I don't expect them to win it or even come in second or even maybe come in third. I can actually see them coming in third because I don't see Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger having a really strong year like people think they are. But that's for another video, like I was saying. But I do think Joe Burrow is going to definitely change that situation around with his leadership. It's just going to be a very interesting year for the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe, man. I'm really excited for that organization. I think he's a franchise caliber quarterback. I think the most worried people had of him was would his arm strength be enough, especially playing in that division when it's cold and raining and snowing. But I think he's proved that he can play in and especially in those big moments. The moment was never too big for Joe Burrow, and I love the pickup that they picked up with T. Higgins, man. I really do, man. This offense is not as like untalented. They have Joe Mixon. And AJ Green is coming back. So you got T. Higgins, AJ Green, John Ross, and Tyler Boyd as your receivers. Are you really doing that bad on offense? And you're getting your offensive tackle that you drafted last year back, who was injured all last season. So they're not inept. They're definitely not inept. They're going to bring back a lot of talent. a couple key free agent acquisitions they had to help beef up that middle. That's with Carlos Dunlap in the middle. I think they still have Carlos Dunlap, a nice veteran presence for Carlos. They have DJ Reader, who picked up from Houston. They have Trey Waynes, who recently got injured. He's going to be out for a little bit, I think, to the start of the season. They brought in a guard to help protect Joe Burrow with Xavier Sufib. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong, but it definitely helps that they trying to get him for some protection. Marquise Alexander, who would help replace Dre's Fitzpatrick, but he lost in free agency. Josh Rhines at a linebacker out of Baltimore, and Von Bell in a safety position at the Saints. I thought that was definitely a good pickup. I thought that was their defense was terrible, I think, all across the board, man. And just Cincinnati just has to get better. I think this is going to be definitely a learning year. I think Zach Tyler has to prove that he's going to have to be that coach for his team in the future, where I just think they're going to have to move on from him. Well, of course, like I was talking earlier, I think the quarterback position was definitely one of the there's definitely struggles. Even though defense, and I'm gonna talk about defense, they only had 18 passing touchdowns. You know, Lamar Jackson had double of that. You know what I mean? And that's just definitely not good. They had 9 rushing touchdowns, 21 red zone touchdowns. They were just lacking those departments. That's not how you win football games to me. If you can't score the ball and put the ball into the end zone and finish off drives, you're not going to get far in this league. And the defense didn't help either, you know. 420 total points in a season. Over 6,000 yards combined allowed this season. 2,382 yards rushing, which was terrible. And they allowed 17 rushing touchdowns, so he was getting ran all over this season, man. It was just a tough, especially when your offense can't score. You know what I mean? You know the saying is the best defense is your offense. You know what I mean? When you can sustain long drives and keep the defense off the field and give them that rest, it definitely helps. But they couldn't. You know what I mean? They ranked 30th in points, 26th in yards, 19th in passing yards, 28th in passing touchdowns, 25 in rushing yards, 26 in rushing touchdowns, 27th in red zone touchdowns, 30th in overall touchdowns, period, man. And that's terrible. That's very terrible. That's not an offense that was clicking at all cylinders right now. And they were just inept. They were terrible. And as the Cincinnati Bengals, it was a rough year, especially knowing that y'all won the division under Marvin Lewis like 3-4 times, man, and coming back to this season, it was terrible. And y'all started off good. I would say y'all didn't win your first game, but y'all thought y'all was going to be a little bit more competitive last season, but I guess the season turned ugly real quick. And the defense didn't do any better. Like I said, 25th in points, 29th in yards allowed, 21st in passing yards, 17th in passing touchdowns, 32nd in rushing yards, 27th in rushing touchdowns. But y'all ranked 11th in red zone touchdowns. I guess y'all didn't really give up a lot of red zone touchdowns, but you know what I mean, with all those defensive stats, it was terrible, man. And I hope they get some better protection for Joe Burrow, man. Y'all ranked 26 in sacks, you know what I mean, 22 in interceptions, 26 in forced fumbles and forced fumbles recovery. It was just a terrible season, I think, for Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Now, hopefully they have a bounce back year in terms of Joe Burrow's development. I heard he's great in the huddle and that leadership, and you want to bring that, especially bringing in a franchise quarterback. It's just going to be definitely an exciting year, I think, for Cincinnati in terms of they can look for the future, man. That's all you can pray for. Especially having a young quarterback. You're going to have Baltimore in that division. Their defense is going to be good. I think Cleveland's defense is going to be good. So you got to worry about Cleveland now, too. And you got to forget about the Steelers. The Steelers have a great defense. So Joe Burrow, I think his mobility is definitely going to be a key part of his game this season, especially playing one of the 3 best defenses, I think, defensive young talent in this league that that you can face, especially playing in the AFC North, man. That division is crazy. It's always going to be a little crazy, man. But just let me know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me share your thoughts and opinions. I'm always here, and I always reply back as fast as I can. Thank you. Tone out.